Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. Had some technical difficulties tonight. Man, couldn't get on the show, can't get the intro right. I don't know what the hell's going on, but we're here. That's Monday, 6:30th.
6:30th.
30-ish.
Almost 7 now.
6:50. His clock's going to go off here in just a minute.
Yeah, there is.
It'd be all right. I'm Chris Gonzo'S, joined by Tony Gonzo'S and Marcus Fine. How's it going?
Going pretty well.
Better than you, it sounds like.
Well, go ahead and get things started off here. Hello, everybody out there. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you're doing better than Chris. Well, we'll start off with indie wrestling. Me and Chris didn't go any shows this weekend. Marcus had a light weekend this weekend.
Hey, Billy.
He had a couple of days off, but he went to a show Sunday.
It's the Joey Owens show. What's up, David? Chris? Billy?
Hey, David.
Billy, I'll wave at her. She's right here.
There's David. Well, Marcus, you went to a show Sunday. You want to tell us about it?
All right. Across the border again. Went over to New Version Wrestling in Illinois. We broke the record, guys. We're in the record-breaking time now. So, hit 70 shows. They were nice enough to, which is weird because when you remember you guys was at Warrior Pro and they asked when we'd see Dallas again, Tyler Scott, and they handed me his coat. Well, I gave him his coat, and he took his coat back. He had him sign it, and he brought the coat back out, presented it to us as a memento for our 70th show.
Cool.
So, yep, we are now in record-breaking numbers. So, show was outstanding. It was the second annual David Hall Memorial Show there at Rabbit Town, which is in an old warehouse type of building down by the railroad there in Danville, Illinois. All right, here we go. And you'll be surprised on who was on this show. Dalton Davis and Tyler Scott defeated DC Black. Miguel Murphy defeated Chris Halls. In the grudge match and the match of the month, I'm going to give it the match of the month right now. Hang on a minute, 7 o'clock. Mayhem. Jimmy Carrot defeated Cecil Cerveza in one of the best matches I have seen in a while. I am going to give it the match of the month right now. Those guys went at it for, probably 20 minutes. But in the end, Jimmy made Cecil tap out. Put some kind of weird hold on him and messed up Cecil's shoulder and stuff. I really wish they'd bring those two. I know Cecil's over here, but I really wish Jimmy crossed the state line and those guys put a fight somewhere here in Indiana. It was outstanding. And Cecil even said it was one of the best matches he's had in a long time, and it was fantastic.
Like Casey said, it's been 10 years since they wrestled each other.
Yeah, I guess Casey, his fiance, said it's been 10 years since the two actually faced each other. So, Kendall Fry defeated Clayton Clark. Alice Crawley defeated Blair Onyx. And Miguel Murphy won the second annual Memorial Rumble. And on that Rumble, Kai Fabian was in Danville yesterday. Dylan Cole was there. Jared, the face collector, was also there. Ace Perry was there. He did not work the show. He rode over with Alice, but he was in the building. So
Cool.
I'd say probably 90% full, and they were loud. I took a little video on how loud those people were, and they kept having to tell the kids to quit sit down. Well, not really sit down, but quit rushing the ring, and they were worked up. It was yeah, it did. It was almost a good second to Kokomo, as loud as those guys was last night.
Coco, that must have been a good crowd then, because Coco.
Well, they were. It was nuts in there last night. So, yeah, Kelly said here's the guy sits next to us. Says, man, I forgot my earplugs. I mean, it was pretty noisy. So, fantastic show. So, yeah, I wish Cecil and Jimmy'd make their way over here and run that feud over here. They could work the towns. And
yes, Cecil's very underrated. He really is.
They'd seen what he did last night. He's like Christian Cash. Those people had seen what Cecil pulled off last night. I think they could use him a little better.
Yes, Cecil can go. I seen him. It's been a year ago at least. Him and I can't remember who the other opponents were, but we seen him in a 3-way match at DCCW, and that's when I really noticed Cecil. I'd seen him a few times before that, but man, he was outstanding that match. So I know Cecil can go, and I think he's underrated. I really do.
I agree 100% with that.
Okay, next up, we'll go to our pro wrestling stuff. I got quite a bit this week. A lot of good shows this week. Started off with Monday Night Raw. It was a good show. Had 3 real strong matches. A match that I really liked the matchup. Xavier Woods took on Drew McIntyre. And they're teasing kind of a heel turn for Drew. We'll see. But and I think Xavier Woods, I think being part of the group he's in, he's kind of the third guy to Kofi Kingston and I can't remember the other guy. Biggie. Yeah. But Xavier can go, and it was a really good match, really strong. Drew McIntyre got the win, but it was good. Another good 6-way match was Alpha Academy and Tampa took on Imperium, and it was a really good match. There looks like they're going to keep building with Chad Gable and probably Gunther for probably another match. And I know Gunther's got the record now for the Intercontinental Championship, and I don't know. I think they're going to get another match, and I'd like to see Gable get that title. So we'll see. And then
has he broke the record yet?
Yes, he broke the record.
Okay, now they broke the record. There might be a chance.
Yep.
He broke the record.
I think Gable's underrated.
Oh man, he's really good. The other thing and I wanted to bring this up because me and Marcus agreed. I think Chris did too. On the last pay-per-view that they had, Rhea Ripley took on Raquel Gonzalez or Rodriguez, excuse me. Gonzalez is her real name, but she goes by Rodriguez for WWE. Probably was the weakest match on that pay-per-view. Not saying it was a bad match, but it was probably the weakest one. Well, they main evented Raw last week. Outstanding match. It was really, really good. It's what the pay-per-view match should have been. I mean, it was really good. And the big surprise there, Nia Jax came back. I know the fans weren't too happy about that, but she came back and attacked both of them. So I don't know where they're going with that story. So
why do you think fans hate her so much? Is it because of her? They think that she gets things given to her because of her bloodline? A
lot of people say she's reckless in the ring.
Yeah, she's terrible in the ring.
A lot of them think she's reckless in the ring, and then also being connected to Roman and the family. I think it's a lot of it. A lot of them feel like if she wasn't connected, she wouldn't be there, which could be true. I don't know. Next up was NXT. Again, Raw was a real good show. NXT was fantastic. Had Ilya Dragunov against Wes Lee. The winner of that match would go to face Carmelo Hayes at their pay-per-view coming up September 30th. Man, it was a really good match. And Wes Lee's come a long way. Was a tag wrestler. His partner got in trouble and he lost him. Didn't know what they was going to do with him. They made him a great champion there for North American champion there. And he's really come a long way and done an outstanding job. I think Ilya Dragunov's one of the best in the world. I really do. I think he's fantastic. It was a great match. Dragunov won, and he'll be taking on Carmelo Hayes at the pay-per-view September 30th. Next was a big match with Becky Lynch taking on the NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Championship belt. Becky won the match. Becky won, but Tiffany Stratton got over. She is going to be a star. She's only been in the business for 2 years. I just read today she's been working house shows, WWE house shows with Becky. She's been working all the house shows and doing matches. They're really high on her. It's also that match drew over a million people watching just that match, and it led NXT to the biggest rating they've had since 2020. So big things there. For me, it was the show of the week. And that's saying something because there were some pretty good shows this week. Next was AEW Dynamite. The highlights of that show was a good promo segment with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, building up to their match coming up at Arthur Ashe Stadium this coming Wednesday on Dynamite Grand Slam. Also, it was a solid match with Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe won that. It was a championship match, a tournament match. And so now Samoa Joe will take on MJF next week at that Grand Slam event there at Arthur Ashe. And then the highlight of the show for me, and Marcus, you might check this out. I'm sure you can find it. Also, you, Chris, was MJF doing a Steiner Math type promo. It was pretty damn good. MJF's awesome. I tell you, he's the best thing they've got going right now by far.
I still say he's going to end up in WWE.
Could happen. It could happen. And speaking of that, is AEW lost one of their big stars. They put a lot of time in the last couple of years. Jade Cargill contract ran out, and the story is that she's in NXT. She made her way to Florida, and she will now be part of WWE. So we'll see. I think there could be some more going eventually. Dynamite was a decent show. It wasn't a bad show. Next up was SmackDown. Very good show. Opened with Pat McAfee and Austin Theory in the ring. And then McAfee brought out The Rock. The crowd went crazy.
That was a cool segment.
Oh, yeah. It was a really good segment. I tell you, Pat McAfee helped make that segment with just standing in the ring and being a fan, watching everything going on and his facial expressions. It was really good. The crowd was crazy. Good show. A lot of storylines being built. That's what they're doing a lot on SmackDown. Building stuff for AJ Styles, building stuff for Bobby Lashley's new group with the Street Profits, building up Bayley and Shotzi feud. Some interesting stuff with the Bloodline in a roundabout way, and also the Judgment Day, also John Cena. So a lot of story building there. So it was a good show. On Saturday night, I watched Collision, a show I haven't got to see too much of. Wasn't very good. It was very flat. I don't know what was going on. There was production issues. I don't know what was going on. So we'll just leave that at that.
I thought the segment with McAfee, Theory, and The Rock was excellent.
Oh yeah.
And the crowd was eating it up. Only thing I didn't understand is why were they bleeping out asshole?
Network. They fought the network, and the network did not want asshole over them.
You kidding me? With all the cuss words they throw out there now.
Rock had one side said you are, and the other side said an asshole, and every time they would say it, they were trying to bleep it out.
Oh,
and it's like, come on.
Another thing on AEW, real quick. I don't know what the answer is. But last year they had 23,000 people 2 years ago they had 23,000 people at Arthur Ashe. Last year 17,000. When I wrote this up a couple of days ago, they only had 6,200 sold. They started buy one get one free and $20 tickets. Since then, I think they're up to about 7,500 right now. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, there's been some argument on what they really did sell in England. The Turnstile said they only 72,000 people came in, but they claim they sold 83,000 tickets. I don't believe 11,000 people didn't no showed. I think that's impossible. I know you get no shows. I know it happens.
Well, yeah, but not that many.
I know not 11,000, but whatever. I mean, still, if 72,000 came in, that's still great. But why is there such a disconnect in the United States? I don't understand. I think he's got to start going to smaller arenas. You only go in arenas that seat 2,500. There's no point in getting in arenas that seat 10,000 and have all that waste and pay that much for it. He's got to be careful. I know his dad's got unlimited money, but the last I had read, they still weren't making money yet. A lot of that was because they put a lot of money in that video game, and I heard the video game wasn't very good. So I don't know video games, so I can't say.
I haven't played it, so I couldn't say.
I know some people that do play
I've
video games and have.
I've seen a lot of reviews on it, and there was more bad than good. There was a few good ones, but there was more bad than good. But I haven't played it, so I can't give you a personal opinion. Yeah, I haven't played a WWE wrestling game in a while either.
The other big story this week in pro wrestling was the Pro Wrestling Illustrated top 10 came out. Been some controversy over that. I don't see what the big deal is. It's just a ranking system made up by magazine, But number one was Seth Rollins. 2 was Roman Reigns. 3 was John Moxley. All 3 of them guys were in the Shield, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, shout out to Rachel Armstrong, who made the top 500 list at 469. Also, I do remember Cole Radrick was number 300. I know Alice was on there in the 4 somewhere. I apologize. I don't remember the number, but I know she was. I don't remember, so I don't want to say it, but I know it was in the 4s. So that's outstanding for Indiana wrestlers. So shout out to them. And also, I'm not going to talk much about it because I know Marcus hasn't seen the whole series yet. Once Marcus sees it all and you see it, we'll talk about it. But the series Wrestlers on Netflix features a lot of people that we see. We've seen Ari Alexander quite a bit. We've seen Jared Kripke quite a bit. And Alice Crowley's also BW.
Haley J.
Hollywood Haley J. I've seen her a few times.
Hollywood's
Haley J is one of the bigger stars in that show. I mean, she had a big storyline in that show. So, very good series that very interesting. Everybody sees it. I want to talk about it in depth, but I thought it's pretty good. Okay, next up we will go to.
While you're doing that, Billy, about 80% of them do film it. Eventually, all that will be put on YouTube somewhere. I know NGW has a filming crew, and they put them out later. They did film yesterday's show, and I don't know when that'll hit their YouTube channel. Of course, we film what we are at. G.W.R. is at. So, yeah, about 80% of the shows I go to is on film somewhere, and I just when they decide to put it out there.
How's it going, Glenn?
Hey, big one. Okay, Marcus, if you want to, we'll go ahead and go with your Indiana pro wrestling for this week.
All right.
Wrestling.
Had an interesting thing. I'm going to do Terry Funk Jr. No, I'm not. We'll do Dory Funk Jr. I don't know. I'm sure there's a Terry Funk Jr. I don't know nothing about him. So, but interesting thing came across my newsfeed yesterday about Dory Funk Jr. The Tennessee stud Ron Fuller put that yesterday the 17th was the 47th year anniversary. He was 28. He wrestled Dory Funk Jr. in Texas death match in Knoxville Baseball Stadium during a rainstorm. And it said if he lost, he would not get an NWA world title match with his brother Terry Funk at the time, who was the champion, but 3 weeks later, and he did win. So I just thought that was interesting. I'd like to see a Texas death match in a rainstorm. I guess put that on my bucket list. But I thought that was interesting that came up. So, all right, when it comes to championships, let's just say Dory Funk Jr. was the NWA champion and a whole bunch of others, and I didn't even start to write those out. So, or we'd be here till tomorrow. But, okay. He was born on February 3rd, 1941 in Hammond, Indiana. Of course, he's the son of Dory Funk Sr. and the brother of Terry. He was trained, of course, by his dad, Ricky Romano and Pedro Morales, and he debuted in 1963. He retired in 2017. He was the NWA champion one time with the second longest reign for the NWA champion behind Luthez. So Luthez has had the longest reign as NWA champion, and Dory Funk Jr. has had the second reign. He was a Universal champ one time and a CWA World champ one time. He currently works for All Japan Pro Wrestling as the Pacific Wrestling Federation and runs of course, the Funking. I got to watch how I write that. Victoria Pro Wrestling School in Texas. I also know Billy Rock at one time went through that course with Dory Funk at one time years ago.
Yeah, if you look it up, it says that Billy Rock is trained by Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah. I remember that from years back. He amateur wrestled in school and played football, and then he went on to, again, West Texas State University and had
a lot of pro wrestlers go to that university.
Yeah, but I think he actually did. I think we discussed that. He actually did. His first match was a win over Don Fargo. Now, these are real names of the past, but I remember hearing about Don Fargo and Ricky Romero. I remember hearing the name. I couldn't tell you anything about him, but I remember hearing that name. Of course, he started with his dad's Western States sports promotion. He wrestled, of course, Harley Race, Mike DiBiase, Wild Bill Curry. That's a guy I haven't heard forever. He's the one that had eyebrows that were like gigantically large across the top.
Yeah.
If I remember right. That's why they call it Wild, because the eyebrows were wicked. He was known for being a rugged, hard-hitting style, I guess a brawler in today's terms. He defeated Gene Kiniski for the NWA title on February 11th, 1969 in Tampa, Florida. And he held it for 4.5 years. And him and Terry are the only brothers to hold a world title. Well, that world title. He lost to Harley Race in Kansas City. He wrestled in Japan several times against Giant Baba, Jumbo Sharuda, Abdullah the Butcher, Harley Race, the Sheik. He had a short stint in WWF. Him and his brother were at WrestleMania 2, wrestled JYD and Tito Santana. Of course, he worked in Japan several times after the WWF, and he retired on December 31st, 2017. The school that we were just talking to Billy Rock was at, he has trained Jeff and Matt Hardy, Christian and Edge, Lita, Kurt Angle, Mickey James, and Ted DiBiase. And speaking of the PWI, he was Match of the Year in 1973 with Harley Race. He had Match of the Year in 74 with Jack Briscoe. He was 147 in 1994, 149 in 2003. He was number 9 in top 100 tag teams. And that's number 9 out of the top 100 tag teams of Terry Funk in 2003. And, of course, he's in many Hall of Fames, including the WWE Hall of Fame, inducted in 2009 with his brother.
And not saying PWI isn't big now, but it was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
It was a lot bigger back then.
Yeah. Oh yes, it was a lot bigger back then.
But like I said, if I went through all there's page after page of championships, so it's like, I'm not doing that. So,
well, that's how you learned everything was through the magazine.
Yeah, because you didn't have the TV shows like we have now. I mean,
and you couldn't get on your phone or on a computer and just look something up.
I couldn't wait for the new magazine to come out.
Man, Kelly can tell you how I was with that. I got tons of them upstairs in my archives.
I remember Grandpa taking me to the barber, and he always give me a wrestling magazine. I was always looking forward to it. I always get the wrestling magazine every month when I went there.
I had a bunch of them at work in my toolbox, and the guys make fun of me. You still watch wrestling? But every day somebody would come. Hey, can I get one of your magazines? Every day somebody would come get some of my magazines. So.
Yep, that's what we've said before, David. You either stood there and read it or you bought it.
Yep.
because back then the selection was outstanding. You could have maybe up to 15 different things to pick, and well, you couldn't afford them all. So I'll take this one home and this one, and I'll read this, and now you can't hardly find any. What's up, Damien?
How's it going, Damien?
Okay, Marcus, is that it on him?
Yeah, that's all I had on him.
Okay, next up we've got our top 5. People can give us their top 5 of shocking greatest wrestling turns. It could be heel or it could be face. I mean, they could have been a heel went to face or a face went to heel. And
I have 10.
Okay, I've got 6. So I did 2 number 5s.
Yep. Let me give you mine.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Give
and also, Austin sent me a list, which I haven't looked at yet.
My grandson was going to come on with us, but they changed the schedule and he had to work tonight.
He don't get off till 7:30, so he sent me his list. So I think he's going to try to come on maybe next Monday.
All right, sounds good.
But on mine, I had Rollins turn on the Shield.
Good one.
Then I had, of course, Hogan turning going into NWO. Michaels turning on Jannetty. I'm forever going to remember that. That's always.
Yep. I remember Heenan's commentary.
McMahon becoming Mr. McMahon.
Yep.
And then Austin and Bret Hart double turn.
Yep. Bret screwed Bret.
That was no particular order, but then with the five I wrote down.
Okay, I'll do mine next. It didn't turn out great as far as how it turned out, probably what they wanted to with Lex Luger. But I do remember him showing up at the USS Intrepid in 1993 on July 4th and body slamming Yokozuna. That was fantastically done. Now, I know Luger didn't go on to be the big face that they wanted to.
I know what you're talking about. That was good.
That was really well done. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. Number 5 was a heel turn. It was Shawn Michaels turning on Jannetty and throwing him through the glass. I hadn't seen anything really like that at that time. I really liked it. Number 4 was heel turn, kind of like what Chris had. Bret screwed by Vince McMahon. That changed everything, really. I mean, I know Stone Cold coming in and everything, but really that Vince McMahon character, because without Vince, what would a Stone Cold been? I mean, not saying it wouldn't have been successful, but it definitely helped.
Oh, yeah.
Next up was I had Stone Cold and Bret Hart, the double turn there at WrestleMania. Number 2 for me, and this won't surprise. I know Chris don't know a lot about it, but this won't surprise Marcus. Dusty Rhodes becoming a good guy and turning on Gary Hart and Pac Song in Florida in 1974 to become the American Dream. That's when he originally became the American Dream. So I think that was really huge. And number 1 for me was Andre the Giant turning on Hogan and showing up with Heenan. I mean, do you think it would have been as good without a Heenan?
No. Heenan's the one that made it a heel. If Andre just walked out there, it was just a segment, but Heenan made the heel part of it.
Yeah. But the press conference, I thought Andre, if you remember the press conference they had where they signed the contracts, the Giants' attitude was outstanding. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way he treated Hogan during that press conference, I don't know if you remember, but people go back and watch it. It was really good. So, but yeah, that was my number 1 for me, and it led to what most people think is, if not probably one of the greatest technical match or anything like that, but the biggest match maybe of all time.
Rocker split, Austin, Bret double turn, Hogan NWA, Andre heel, Paul Bearer turn. Oh, yeah, Paul Bearer turning on Taker. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, if Bobby Heenan didn't do that, it wouldn't make no sense. Because if you remember, Piper said he'd have Hogan there. Jesse Ventura said he'd have Andre there. If that was the way, it wouldn't have made it would have just been another match. But when Heenan come out, that's what turned him heel.
Yeah.
Deadpool, I'm not 100% sure if they will be there or not.
I bet they are with that Rumble, and they're the tag champs. I bet they will be there. Yes. DCC. Oh,
I think they'll be there.
They are.
October 2nd. I would say they'll be there.
I think they'll be there, but I don't want to. I'm not 100%. So I don't want to just.
I'm guessing they will be, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would say they probably will. because they're
I was
they're
thinking
usually at all the
AHCW, but
DCCW
yeah.
shows.
I bet they are.
Austin's list was let me pull it up here.
Did you
Yeah,
do all
the
10, Tony?
What, huh?
You did 10, right?
No, I
Or
just
you
did 6.
Okay, okay.
Austin had Seth Rollins turn on the Shield, Sammy turning face on Bloodline, Evolution turning on Randy Orton, Becky turning on Charlotte, starting the path to her becoming the man,
Yep.
and Hulk Hogan joining NWO.
And that really didn't turn out. Becky didn't turn out the way because they wanted her to be a bad guy, and it kind of didn't work.
Yeah, that was the list Austin sent me.
I think probably another one that was real like you had. We had Hogan down turning it was a big one. But I was going by what affected me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it went. I mean, don't get me wrong. It ended up being big in history. But honestly, I didn't care the Hogan turned bad. It wasn't that big. It was surprising, but it wasn't big for me. That was just me personally.
All right, ready for me?
Yep.
Okay, well, of course, no particular order. I'm like Chris. I can't rank this stuff. I had what you guys had. I had Hogan in the NWO, Shawn and Marty, Brett and Austin, and then I also had the Andre and Hogan turn. But then I had Savage turning on Hogan. Of course, we all seen that coming, but it was still pretty shocking. How about when Jimmy Hart turned face? When they were getting ready to beat up Brutus,
Yeah.
and he was out there and he turned face. And then the next week he came out with Hogan.
I forgot about that.
And then we'll go back a ways. Well, okay, not quite as far yet. Piper showing up at the flower shop and turning face.
Yeah.
Because in the PWI, he was the heel of the year for 3 years in a row, and then he was face of the year the very next year because he showed up at the flower shop and had the feud with Adrian Adonis and Bob Orton, who was his tag team partners. And
Yep. And Don Morocco.
Yep, I knew there was another one. I couldn't remember who that other guy was, but
yeah,
you're right.
Morocco was there.
We're going to do an an AWA. Jerry Blackwell when he became face when Bruiser Brody attacked him when he was with Patera and the late Sheikah Dynamite Casey, who passed away last week or the week before. And then I had Larry Zbyszko turning on Bruno Sammartino, and that goes way back.
Yeah.
I think that's like 1980, 1979. But Bruno was his
fans
training.
want to kill Zbyszko.
Yeah. I think that's what I had. Yep, that's what I had.
Okay. Well, the next thing I have up real quick, I've got the best 1990s superstars, 32 person bracket, supplied by Ranker. And we'll go into that and see what people think. This is the 90s. Remember that because there's some people big in the 80s also in this. Maybe in the 2000s. Mostly 80s and 90s though. Number 1 was Stone Cold Steve Austin against number 2 Ted DiBiase.
And if you're talking the 90s, you got to go Austin.
Yeah, I think you got to go Austin.
Austin.
This is interesting. For the 90s. Number 16 Ric Flair versus number 17 Big Show.
I still think Flair had it.
I'd say Flair still.
I think it's closer than what people may think, but yeah, I think you got to go with Flair, even though it's the 90s. Next up,
Flair came in as a WWF champion in the 90s. Yeah, I'd still go Flair.
Yeah, because Flair was champion. Yeah, WWF 92.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then lost it in
Next up, number 9 Triple H versus number 24 Big Boss Man. Triple H is bigger in the 2000s than probably. I mean, he got big in 98, 99.
Yeah, but Boss Man was more of a big shop in the
more in the 80s, probably.
80s. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with Triple H.
I think Triple H also. Now they had tag teams in this also. So number 8, Randy Savage versus number 25, the Hardy Boys.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
I think
90s. I have to go the Hardy Boys.
Oh no, when was the big matches with bullying in? Was that 2000?
Well, that was WrestleMania 2000 was the first unofficial TLC. We said that last week.
What do you think, Chris?
Oh man.
Go 90 Savage against the Hardy Boys.
What did Savage do? He was the WCW champ.
Savage was pretty big in he was pretty big in WCW.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
I would say Savage. I think the Hardy Boys were more the early 2000s.
Now that you said it that way, I do too. Yeah. Kelly said Savage as well.
Yeah, Marcus. She said Savage.
Well, yeah, she's over here smacking me with that.
I put it up on the screen.
Yeah. Okay, next up, number 4, Shawn Michaels versus number 29, Yokozuna.
Hey, what's up, Austin? Let's just got off work.
Yeah.
Who was it now?
Number 4, Shawn Michaels against number 29, Yokozuna.
Gotta go with Mike. I gotta say Michaels.
I'm gonna say Shawn.
You almost have to.
You
Shawn
know, I
had-
was a fan of Yokozuna. You know it has to be Michaels if Marcus is going to say
Yeah,
Michaels because
yeah.
Marcus don't.
No,
No,
Marcus
I don't
not
like Michaels, but if you think of Yokozuna's career, he was always champ for won it in '93, lost it in
Tag champion-
'94, and that
tag
was
champion for
it.
a little while with Owen.
Yeah, but Michaels pretty much dominated that decade as well.
Number 13 against number 20, Owen Hart. This is
Who was it? The
90s.
Rock? Did you say The Rock? You
Hold
cut
on, I'm
out.
having a little bit of technical difficulty. I'm not sure whose side it's on.
I think it's on both our sides. Froze up. What's it look like to you? We're all froze up. Am I froze up too?
Here we go.
There we go.
Tonight has not been our night tech wise.
Okay, so it was The Rock and Owen Hart.
What do you think, Chris? Owen Hart or Piper?
Oh, Piper. Okay.
Owen Hart and Piper.
Yeah, I don't know. I think both of us. I don't know if it's our end or whose end it is, but the internet was messing up bad.
Yeah, Kelly said we both froze up because she's got it on her phone over here.
That's
Piper
really
or
hard.
Owen Hart? Owen died in '99. Piper.
I'm going with Piper.
I'm gonna go with Piper as well.
Yeah, I will too.
David says Piper. Austin says Owen. Kelly says Owen.
What did Marcus say?
Piper.
I think he said Piper.
Piper. Okay,
Piper.
we're going to go with Piper. Okay. Next up, number 12, Ultimate Warrior versus number 21, the British Bulldog.
As the British Bulldog single?
Yeah, in the 90s. Because they wasn't really tagging much then.
Who? No.
The British Bulldog. No. Tag teams. British Bulldogs against Ultimate Warrior. 90s.
British
I think it's got to be.
Bulldogs in the 90s. Well, I have to go
Must have been
Warrior.
early 90s.
It had to be.
I'll say Warrior.
I'll say Warrior for that. Because the Bulldogs won
I
the
think
title
so.
at WrestleMania 2, then they lost it somewhere down the line. And that was
Kelly and
basically
David both say Warrior.
Yep. Next up, Bret Hart, number 5, against number 28, Rob Van Dam.
hard. Well, because ECW really was the third wheel, basically. I mean, they did good, and he was the TV champion for like ever, but I'll still go Hart.
I say Hart.
Number 2, Undertaker against Mr.
And you're
Perfect.
talking the 90s.
90s.
I'm going to have to go Taker
I think it's
because
gotta be
Taker dominated the 90s.
You have to go Taker as well.
Number 15. This is interesting. Number 15, Kane against number 18, Goldberg. I mean, Goldberg peak was only.
Yeah, it was brief.
Austin says take. Okay, so the last one. Who'd you say for this one? Kane?
Kane and Goldberg.
I'll go Kane.
90s.
I'm going Kane.
I think Kane too.
Yeah.
Kelly says Goldberg.
Well, that's fine. You got an opinion. It may not be right, but you got it.
Austin said Kane. Goldberg sucks.
Who said that?
My grandson.
Well, he
You don't
does
like
now, but he didn't. I was a big Goldberg mark, but anymore, it's like quit putting him on those foreign pay-per-views.
David says Kane Goldberg was a one-trick pony.
He is now. At the time, he was a big shot, and I was a Goldberg fan, but not anymore. I just
It's
laughed.
going to be interesting what Austin thinks about this one. Number 10, Razor Ramon against number 23, Edge.
And you're talking the 90s. I'm going Razor.
I think I'm going Razor Ramon too. 90s. Because Edge didn't get real big till about 99, really.
Yep. I would say Razor in the 90s.
90s, I think you got to go with Razor. I think, of course, if you didn't go into 2000s, of course, I think Edge.
Yeah.
Kelly and David both say Edge.
Well, we got three.
What Marcus say?
Razor.
Razor. I think Razor. Right now it's 3-2. Let's see if anybody else has got it.
What do you think, Damon?
I'm waiting on Austin too.
Yeah.
Looks like you might have got this one.
Yeah.
Austin went with Razor because and he made, like I said,
Edge
was just coming in the 90s.
And Edge is Austin's favorite, so I wondered how he was going to answer that.
Next up, number 7, Mick Foley versus number 26, China. That'll be Mick Foley.
Yeah.
China was big, but Mick Foley. Number 3, The Rock versus number 30, Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, The Rock didn't get real big till what, 99? 98?
Probably somewhere around there.
Yeah, but what exactly did Bam Bam do? He lost at WrestleMania.
He did. He wrestled in the main event of WrestleMania, but he lost. That's true.
A lot of people don't remember he main evented WrestleMania.
Yep, he did main event.
I have to go. I think I'll go with The Rock.
I think
I'm still going with The Rock as well. What'd you put?
I think I go Rock.
Kelly says Rock. David says Rock.
This one's going to be. I know what Marcus is going to pick, but remember this in the 90s. 14 Road Warriors against number 19, Chris Jericho. 90s.
The 90s.
That's tough, man.
The 90s. You know who I think? I'm going to go. I'm
a Road Warrior Mark, but I think you got to go the 90s. I think you got to go with Jericho.
Yes, I'm going to go with Jericho. If you're talking the 80s, the Warriors had it, but yeah, by the 90s they were slowing down. So
David's going with Road Warriors.
So's Kelly.
So's Kelly.
Oh, well, then I'll go with the Road Warriors if I got more sponsors.
Okay, we got 3 or 4. He's going to try to get that win.
Well, if I got more sponsors, I'll do it.
Right now, we got 3-2 Road Warriors.
Yeah, 3-2. Just me and you, Jericho.
Yep.
Marcus turned on us.
I know he turned.
I originally said Warriors,
but
then if I got 2 others on my side, I'll play the game. So.
Nope, Glenn went with LOD too, so it's going to be the Road Warriors. Okay, number 11, Sting.
Austin said Mick Foley. Where'd Mick Foley come in out there?
He's back behind. Number 11, Sting versus 22, Jeff Hardy.
Well, now again, you're talking 2000 before you're Sting.
Now you got to go with Sting.
Sting won the belt on July 7th of 90 and basically hasn't stopped since, literally. So,
number 6, Hulk Hogan versus number 27, Diesel. I think you still got to go with Hogan. He was still going pretty good in 93, and then he started big in 97 with the NWO. I think it's got to be Hogan.
Yeah, Diesel was Zoe there for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, we're starting our second round matchups. Number 1, Austin taking on number 16, Ric Flair. But the 90s,
hell.
I think.
Yeah, you got to go with Austin.
Austin had a bigger career towards the tail end of the 90s, I think.
Yeah, I'd say Austin as well.
Okay, again, remember the 90s, but I think this is tough. Randy Savage was number 8 against number 9 Triple H. Savage had a pretty good research with WWE or WWO, NWO or whatever you want to call it, WCW toward the late, 90s. That's when Triple H got big, about 98, 99.
Yeah, Savage.
I think Savage.
Well, everybody says Savage. That's not gonna matter.
Chris ain't going to vote. He ain't going to win anyway. He says.
He was going to turn if he could. Okay, next up, number 4, Shawn Michaels versus number 13, Roddy Piper.
Man, I hate to do it, but I'm going to say Michaels.
If you're just counting the 90s,
Yeah, because Piper took some time off in the 90s.
I would say Michaels.
And Shawn was Intercontinental champ. He was tag champ. They become world champ several times. Piper really held the end.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Shawn.
Austin says Shawn.
I want to go with Piper, but I think I got to go with Shawn.
Billy says Piper. Glenn says Shawn.
So what is it then?
Shawn edges it out.
Okay, next up, number 12, Ultimate Warrior versus number 5, Bret Hart.
Bret.
Dang, Bret, yeah, especially 90s.
Bret was hot for longer.
Yeah.
Well, because Warrior won in 90, beat Hogan in 90, lost at the Royal Rumble, and then that was it. He was done. So, then he was there, but he wasn't really.
Everybody's saying Bret.
Next up, number 2, Undertaker against number 15, Kane.
Oh, well, the Brothers of Destruction. You got to go with Taker. That's just the way it works,
Taker.
even in the real.
Yeah, you got to go Taker. Number 10, Razor Ramon against number 7, Mick Foley.
I think Foley just because
Foley was big from 96, 97, 98, 99 on into the
2000s. A longer run.
Yeah.
And you said Mick Foley, so does that cover all the careers at Foley? I'd go Foley.
Yeah, I think you got to go Foley.
Because he was back in the WCW and
everybody's
saying we'll have to go.
Number 3, The Rock versus number 14, the Road Warriors.
The Rock.
I think I go
in
the
the
Rock.
90s.
I don't think I
so.
have sponsors this time, do I? Who'd you?
Kelly went with The Rock. You're in trouble.
What'd you put, David Kraft? Did you stick with The Rock too?
So far, we got Kelly says The Rock. That's Glenn says The Rock.
Yeah, it's gonna be The Rock.
Yeah, it's going to be The Rock. Sorry, David, if you picked the Road Warriors. Thank you, brother, but
he
didn't.
refuses to vote on this one.
Oh, did he? That's what he said. He refused to vote.
Hey, Billy said Road Warriors.
Billy went with the Road
Yeah,
Warriors.
Billy, thank you. At least we'll be the brothers this round.
Okay, number 11, Sting versus number 6, Hulk Hogan.
Woo-hoo, I knew that'd finally get here.
I think it's Hogan.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think it's Hogan. He hasn't beaten early 90s, and it may be a standoff in the late 90s, but I think you got to go with Hogan.
Yeah, I'm going Hogan.
Hey, how's it going with Jason McGraw? Austin says Sting.
What's up, Jason?
Kelly says Sting.
Oh, we got
But then Glenn and Billy both say Hogan. David says Hogan. So Hogan's going to win it out.
You almost got it.
They made it close.
Down to our final 8. This is the 90s. Remember, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Randy Savage. I think it's got to be Austin.
It has to be Austin now.
Austin had a good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kelly says Austin.
Yeah.
It's going to be Austin.
Okay, guys. The ultimate matchup. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
Well, you know where I'm going with that.
You're going with Bret.
You know it.
I'm going to go with Bret in the 90s because Michaels had another run in the early 2000s.
But he had a major run in the 90s.
Yeah, he had a major run in the 90s.
Early 90s.
But I think,
but he was gone after 98. He was gone 99.
and Bret had a pretty long run there in the 90s. I think I'm going to go with
close,
Bret.
but everybody's going Bret. So it's going to be Bret.
Austin said Shawn.
Yeah, he's a big Shawn fan. Next up, Undertaker, Mick Foley.
I think you gotta go with Taker. I just don't. I mean, Foley had a hell of a run in the '90s as well, but Taker. I mean, it's Taker. I mean, he had some of the best runs for like decade after decade.
Austin's going with Mick.
Mick makes the one that buried him alive. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Taker.
Also, the one that got thrown off the cage.
Yeah.
Who you go with, Marcus?
I'm going to go Taker. I mean, once Taker showed up on the scene, what you can't deny the man.
We've got a couple of Foleys. We got a couple of Foleys here.
What'd you
A
get?
couple. Looks like it's going to be Taker though.
Taker.
Did you pick Taker too?
Yeah, Kelly said Taker. Austin says Mick. Billy says Foley.
I was going to go.
David says Taker. Glenn says Taker.
Well, that's close. I knew they'd
Yep.
get close.
Jason McGraw went with Taker too.
Okay, remember it's the '90s, guys. The Rock versus Triple H. No, excuse me, not Triple H. I lost my mind. Hulk Hogan. '90s. I think it's gonna be Hogan, guys.
Yeah, because Rock didn't really become big till after the turn of the
97, 98, 99. Hogan was real big 97, 98, 99, but he was also big still in
From the
91,
that
92,
too,
93.
yeah.
So I think overall Hogan, I hate to say that.
Even though I hate to say it, I gotta say Hogan in the '90s. Kelly and Austin say The Rock.
Jason says The Rock. It's gonna be close, guys.
Glenn and Billy both say Hogan. So I still think it's Hogan barely, because it was Marcus Hogan.
Yep.
Yeah, Hogan.
And you were
Yeah,
Hogan,
yeah.
so that's 3.
It's gonna be Hogan.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's
what was it?
Hogan 5-4.
5-4. Wow, we got 9 people voting on this. This is great.
Okay, we're down to our final 4, guys. And that's probably what the matchup should be. First matchup is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. I tell you why that's tough, because overall, if you look at overall '90s, you could give the edge to Bret.
Mm-hmm.
But Austin's run was so freaking big.
It was so big.
Once he got started, but if you remember, when did Bret win
Yeah.
his title? When did he beat Flair? And he was part of the Hart Foundation, but when did he beat Flair? I know he lost it. Flair lost to Savage at WrestleMania 8 in Indy. I'm gonna go Bret. Well, Bret and Austin, man. Austin didn't win until what, 96? I'm gonna go Bret. I think Bret had a better career.
In the '90s overall.
No.
I mean, even though Stone Cold he wasn't Stone Cold, but he was Stunning Steve, had a decent career in WCW, but not what Bret had in WWE
No.
or
I'm gonna go Bret.
WWF.
I'm going Austin.
I'm going Bret.
I'm going Bret. What you do?
Where are we going at, guys? Let's see here. We got Austin. Okay, let's see here.
Let's see. I think we're gonna go up some. Kelly says Brett. Austin says Austin.
1-1.
David says Austin. Billy says Brett.
We're still
Glenn says Austin.
3.
3-2.
Jason says
Three.
Brett.
3-3.
We're the tiebreakers. Because
Okay,
that's
so what did you
big.
say, Mark? You said Brett.
I say Bret.
I said Brett. Well, you said Austin. I think it's 5-4 Brett.
Ooh, buddy, that almost didn't happen, did it?
Okay. Next up, Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan. Undertaker was just as big in not in the 90s. I mean, Hogan got more championships, of course, because that when Taker didn't need championships. But Taker was big from 90 all the way through.
Yeah.
I think Taker, guys.
Taker.
I gotta say Taker as well.
Did you pick Taker?
Oh yeah, everybody's saying Taker.
Okay, guys, who had the no championships wise? It's going to be Brett against Taker. Brett had the more championships, but he left for WCW in 97, 97, and Tank.
I say Taker.
I think for if you go from, it's close, but I think Taker.
I'm going to take her.
And really, if you look at it over about a 30-year stretch, it's hard to beat Taker in any 10-year run. he can
Well,
almost be the 90s.
when you go next
Maybe
week for the
Taker, guys.
2000s, Taker will be on that list too. So, and the 2010s, he'll be on that list too. So,
Oh, speaking of next week, I'll tell you what we've got for next week.
And everybody picked Taker.
Everybody picked Taker. Well, Taker was the winner. Here's what we've got scheduled for next week for the 25th. And we're going to, hey, by the way, for next week, show's going to start later. We'll start at 7:30.
Only a half hour later today.
Yeah, only a half hour later today. Yeah, only a half hour later today. We got Indie Wrestling Report. We'll be at a couple shows this weekend, so quite a bit of wrestling.
It's going to be a busy weekend this weekend.
Are we going to have a special guest with us on Saturday?
Yes, we are.
Yes, Chris Chaos will be stepping in to run our camera and commentate with us in Martinsville at JICW for the Austin Fury show. There is also an Austin Fury show in Lafayette at 4:00. JICW in Martinsville starts at 6:30. They're both Austin Fury Memorial shows. So,
and of course, Sunday you got Warrior Pro year 2.
Yeah, year 2.
They're in Danville, Indiana. That starts at 5, right?
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
New start time. So if you're usually go there, make sure you're aware of that. New start time instead of 3. This month is going to be at 5 o'clock.
You know that? And then just if I'm remembering, FEW is also running in Greenfield on Sunday. Bluffton is happening
Friday.
Yeah, and you're right. That was the triple threat. Ari, Alice, and Rachel.
Wait a minute. Did they change the date? Jason, did you mean the 7th? Or is the date changed?
Because you said October 14th.
Oh,
on your post.
I just booked that room this morning.
No.
Let's see what Jason says. But anyway, what we've got also for next week, we got Marcus's Indiana Pro Wrestler stuff. We'll be doing pro wrestling also, our review of that. Our topic was going to be our top 5 most underrated pro wrestlers, our opinion. So that's going to be the topic. He says yes. What does that mean? Yes,
7.
Okay.
Thank you, because I just booked the room this morning.
Okay. And then also, I've got a bracket for next week. The most underrated wrestlers of all time. It's a 16-man bracket, and it's from Sportster. So that's will be the show next week. And
what show we're talking about on the 7th is DCCW Cornfield Carnage 2 at the J County Fairgrounds in Portland, Indiana. They got the WWE legend Godfather, Papa Shango, Gang Grill. They just added Funny Bone.
Funny Bone's a death match guy.
Also, Victoria will be making an appearance.
Yes.
The J County Fair heavyweight champion Logan Myers.
I thought that was Brian Pillman Jr.
I really thought that looked like Brian Pillman Jr. Because I seen Ari on one side of the poster. That's who that was.
Shauna Reed will also be making an appearance.
Shauna Reed is now going to be there.
Where? At DCCW?
Yes.
Oh, I've seen her a few times. She's pretty good.
Yep.
Shauna Reed.
Also, just wanted to make a note of it so everybody knows, and we still need a couple people if they'd like to do it. On Monday, October 2nd, our topic is going to be your 8-match dream card. You can current wrestlers or old school. I've got 2 spots left. If anybody's wanting to do it in this, you will be doing your venue, where it's going to be at, your ring announcers, your play-by-play, your concessions, your entertainment, 8 matches. You name the show, everything. Right now, I've got I can do anything, but I've got myself down for New School Wrestling. Got my grandson Austin and Chris. I've got Marcus for old school. I've got Justin Danger down for old school, and I got Glenn Richardson down for old school. So I still need a couple people if somebody would like to do that. That show will be at 6:30 on Monday, October 2nd, if anybody would like to do that.
All right. Jason says another surprise coming too. So
He's full of surprises.
that's already looks like it'll be a real good show. So
Yeah.
adding more surprises.
Yep,
That's gonna be a fun night. But Will, do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm
Good
good to
for
go.
tonight.
I think I'm good.
All right. We appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Like, follow on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo'S Sports Room and at the All Sports All Plays ASAP Sports Network. This has been G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. We'll be back on Monday with another episode, another episode at a special time of 7:30. Also, we'll be at a couple wrestling shows this weekend. I believe we'll be live for both of them, so make sure you join us for that. I know what time is Saturday's show?
6:30 is bell time.
6:30. So 6:30 Saturday and at 5 on Sunday. But we appreciate everybody watching. Hope everybody has a great Monday night, and we'll see you guys next week.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
Here, this is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass.